All right. Before we get started, again, this meeting is being recorded. So good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and honorary guests. My name is Ray Melendez, and I will serve you tonight as your Sergeant at Arms. This being our last meeting for 2020, I'm going to ask everybody to do our best to avoid any distractions. So let's continue now with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I will pass the meeting on to our president, Shastri Stewart.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for that introduction. Now we will start our meeting. It's 6:57. So first off, would like to introduce our guests. I believe we have Connie, Steve, and Diana. Diana is back. Very cool. All right, Connie, if you can introduce yourself to our members and just give one or two sentences why you came today.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Yes, my name is Connie. I was invited by Micheline, speaker number 2, and I felt it was an honor to be invited by her and to be a part of this last meeting for 2020.
Awesome. Thank you, Connie, for joining us tonight.
And thank you for having me.
Steve, you're welcome. Steve, can you introduce yourself to our members and give one or two sentences on why you're here today?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. I just came by. I found you online. Just I'm at work and it's the best time for me. So I'm coming to kind of brush up on my skills for public speaking, and just at work to help with my meetings. We have sales meetings and so forth. So it's important to be motivating, I guess. So by nature, I'm a little bit reserved. So I'm trying to come out of that and help with that a little bit. And I'm looking forward. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, Steve. Thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate you being here. All right. Let's see here. Diana, welcome back. If you can introduce yourself briefly to the members that weren't here last week and give us one or two sentences on why you came back.
Hi, I'm Diana. I came back because I'm interested in joining and getting better at communicating and speaking in public. It was encouraged by my bosses. They were the ones that told me about it, and I invited myself through the website.
Awesome. Thank you all, and thank you all guests for attending our meeting tonight. We'll definitely be talking after the meeting. I'll ask you what you thought of the meeting, so please take notes. Also, Micheline is our VP of membership, so she'll stay behind 5 minutes if you'd like to be in a breakout room with her to ask her any additional questions about membership or signing up. All right, so I'll move on to our meeting. Before I do so, let me state our mission statement. It is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. All right, without any further ado, I'll introduce our Toastmaster of the day, the one and only, Shay Greaves. Shay?
Okay, thank you, Shastri. As Toastmaster of the Day, I serve as your Master of Ceremonies. For the benefit of guests and new members, a traditional Toastmaster meeting has 3 sections: formal speeches, table topics, and evaluations. Before we jump into that, the theme of our meeting is called trust the timing of your life. I thought it was appropriate because I just reflect again on my journey becoming a Toastmaster with you guys, and then becoming Vice President of Education and having you guys choose to journey with me, and how I wouldn't have seen this from my first visit at all. So just trusting the people, the moment, the places, and the opportunities that you're positioned in, because you never know where it can take you. So thank you for journeying with me, and I wanted to share that with you. So I chose that. So for today, I want us to go ahead and jump into the roles for this meeting. First, the invocation. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Again, about timing. I'd like to call on our odd counter, Mark Kessler. Please explain your role.
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. Let me find here we are. Toastmaster of the day. The purpose of the counter is to note any word or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be appropriate interjections. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. I'd like to call on our grammarian or word master for today.
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day. One benefit of Toastmasters is that it helps people improve their grammar and word use. Being grammarian provides an exercise in expanding listening skills. I have several responsibilities tonight. One, to introduce new words to members. Two, to comment on the language used during the course of the meeting. And finally, to provide examples of eloquence. The word of the day is panacea. It is a noun. The definition, a remedy for all ills or difficulties. Example in a sentence: doctors wish there was a single panacea for every disease, but sadly, there is not. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle, for expanding our vocabulary. Panacea. Calling on our general timer, Jack Miller. Please explain your role for today.
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. I am responsible for monitoring time for each speaker. I operate the timing signals to indicate speech length. Timing begins when the first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. As the general timer, whoever is speaking and has control of the meeting may pay attention to the red color, which is this. It may change. The green color, which is this, and the yellow color. You'll have 30 seconds before you're clapped off when you see the red color. I may show it on my other clock. I had a whole fancy thing set up and it didn't work, but we're going to make this work. So that's what I do, Madam Toastmasters, and we're looking forward to timing. I'm complete.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack, for your creativity in this moment. Also, we'd like to call on our Toastmaster of table topics for today. Please explain your role.
Toastmaster of the day.
You're muted.
You hear me? No? Still me? Okay. Toastmaster of the day. The topic master gives members who are not assigned a significant speaking role the opportunity to speak during the meeting. I challenge each member with a subject and they respond with a 1 to 2 minute impromptu talk.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. And resourcefulness is the word I was looking for. for Toastmaster Jack, your resourcefulness. On to our formal section of the meeting, formal speeches. So throughout our meeting, our members have the opportunity to practice their listening skills and critical thinking. That was our functionary rules. I'd like to call on Toastmaster Evaluator 1. That would be Shastri Stewart, evaluating our free speech for tonight.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I will be evaluating Woodland, one of our newer members. He will be given a speech length 4 to 6 minutes. The purpose of the speech is really for us to get to know him. It'll be his very first speech. I'm so excited. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shastri. His speech title is Why Toastmasters? This speech is 4 to 6 minutes. In this speech, Toastmaster Woodland will be explaining why he decided to join Toastmasters and how it will benefit him in both his personal and professional life. Please give a warm welcome to Toastmaster Woodland.
Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guests. Tonight I will be introducing you to me. My name is Woodland Cassius. I was born on December 12, 2000. And to save you from doing the math, I'm 20 years old. I graduated in May of 2019. I'm a real estate sales associate with Century 21 Tennis Realty. For my line of work, you have to be a good communicator, which is one of the reasons why I joined Toastmasters. We will discuss my profession later, but for now, let's talk about my personal life. Growing up, I was a painfully shy and proud introvert. Didn't really like talking to people. Every chance I get, I would let my brother talk for me, and really, I wouldn't really, it didn't really give me the chance to prove my skills, my communication skills.
Woodland, are you still there?
You gotta show that you're trustworthy, dependable, hardworking, and you gotta communicate that with your clients. So in joining this club, I feel that I will communicate that with my clients. And I'm hoping to be the best at what I do. And Um, and
Talk about your mom.
yeah, so reason I got into real estate is because I wanted to provide a better life for my mom. I want her to realize her benefit of home ownership, and I also want that for my present and future clients. And one day I'm gonna be able to buy her house and hopefully retire her from a job. And let's see. And also give my future kids a chance at a better life as well.
Thank you, Toastmaster Woodland. You've already come a long way in 1 month, 2 months. So we know that Toastmasters can definitely be a panacea for your fear of public speaking and give you more confidence. We're here to cheer you on. So thank you so much for sharing a bit about your heart, your life, and your personal goals. Next, we have Toastmaster Micheline, but her evaluator, Keon Green, will tell us a little bit about her project for today.
Certainly, Madam Toastmaster of the evening, it's my pleasure to present to you our next speaker, Toastmaster Micheline Nimburg. She is working on level 3, and the path that she chose is delivering social speeches. The purpose of this project is to practice delivering social speeches in front of us, so she can deliver social speeches in any other functions at the drop of a hat. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Keon Green. Micheline's speech is entitled Toast to the Rock. Micheline is so grateful for all the amazing relationships she has. And this evening, she will give a special toast to recognize the ladies in her life. I'd like to welcome warmly Toastmaster Micheline Nimburg.
We are gathered here this evening as Toastmasters, and I would like to give a special toast to the women that rocks. Good evening, Toastmasters, dignitary, and honored guests. I would like to give a toast to the most amazing woman in the whole wide world, my mother, that I call Mom. She loves me when I'm at my best, and she encouraged me at my worst. She is the biggest cheerleader. She is patient, kind, courageous, and very outspoken. When she speaks, she gets her points across. That means it's listening time. She's my prayer warrior. She's honest, wise, and full of life. Thank you for being my mom. Now onto my best friends and my sisters, Connie and Nina. They are my rock. I've known them for over 2 decades. That's correct, 2 decades. They're loving, caring, and generous. They're the best part of having 2 amazing ladies with different approaches in life. I reap the benefits of both worlds. Different perspectives and different views help me to give a warm toast to the ladies that rock. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Toastmaster Micheline. I could definitely feel your heart and see the emotions on your face, and let alone your sister's face. Thank you so much for sharing. Next, we have Toastmaster Sonia Harate as the evaluator for Connie Andrews' speech.
Yes, Toastmaster of the day. Connie tonight will share a well-organized and well-delivered speech. And the title of her speech is So Many Years, So Many Mentors. I believe, and Connie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 5 to 7 minutes. Yes, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonia. Her title again is So Many Years, So Many Mentors. Connie has been a Toastmaster for 3 years. She has 4 adult children, loves to be physically active, especially yoga. Her passion is bringing light and support to the people around her. She loves to set the bar high. And the older she gets, the bigger the challenge. Tonight, she will be speaking about 3 people in her life who guided her and made a difference. Please welcome Connie Andrews.
Hello, Wellington Toastmasters and guest protege. Protege is a person who is guided and supported by an older person, usually. Somebody more experienced, an influential person. That's what a mentor is. In 1985, I want to tell you about my first mentor. I've had many because I'm a lot older than most of you. But 3 that stay in my mind. There's really 4, but there's only time for 3 tonight. So in 1985, I was home with 4 children all day. You know how that feels for many of you. And my next door neighbor invited me to a Tupperware party. For those of you that don't know, Tupperware is a kitchen storage appliance, like just yummy things for the kitchen. And a Tupperware party is a great way to get you out of the house at night with no kids. And you say goodbye to your husband and you come back revived after two hours. So I went to this Tupperware party. The lady did a wonderful demonstration. She was dressed to the nines. She had high heels on. I'm like, high heels? I haven't worn high heels in years. But she looked great and she looked like she was having so much fun doing this Tupperware party. So I was in. I signed up and I became a Tupperware lady. Well, Mary Ballas was my mentor. It was Sandcastle Sales was the name of the distributorship. And I began my Tupperware experience. And I did Tupperware. I sold Tupperware at night for 10 years. And I'm telling you, Mary Ballas was my mentor and I was her protege, which was great because she held me high. She called me out. And she held me accountable for my numbers, for what I was supposed to be doing, all of that. And it's something that I will never forget. She had so much experience and she was beautiful and her nails were shiny and just so opposite of what I felt. My second mentor is one that I still work with. His name is Henry Kaplan. He is our sales manager at Century 21 Real Estate. And I've been working with him for the last 13 years. Henry says that I am his jelly and he is the peanut butter. Like, in other words, he can't work without me. And I love that about him. He lifts me up when I'm down and he never has anything bad to say, or he can always turn it around into something positive. I am so grateful because we both agree that we don't work because we love what we do. And if you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. My third mentor that I want to tell you about came last year to me. He is my yoga guru. His name is Philip Castrophilis. Last year I was 67 years old, and imagine, God, still having mentors at 67. I started Tupperware when I was 35. I've been in real estate since I'm 55, and here I am, 67, and across comes another mentor in my life, which has been awesome. Last year, I was lucky enough to complete my 200-hour yoga teacher certification. The kids and the young kids that I was taking the certification with were literally, they could have all been my children. And I had the greatest time. It was very difficult, physically difficult, and mentally training. But Philip held us to the highest standards in the philosophy of yoga, in the practice of yoga, and it's something that I will never, ever forget. I want to share with you 3 things that I have found that have been comparable to all of them, that I find in all of my mentors so far. Connection. I had a connection to every one of my mentors so far in my life. I wanted to be with them. I couldn't wait to see them the next time. I love their energy. I love their light. I love being around them. I wanted to be like them. The other thing was admiration. Admiration is something that, like, I always felt with all 3 of them, gosh, when I grow up, I want to be just like that. And the number 3 thing was knowledge and experience. They all had unbelievable knowledge and experience. So those are 3 common threads for all of my mentors. In closing, I will never forget my mentors and the lessons that I've learned and the friendships that I've made and the successes that I've had with my mentors. I didn't tell you about my most recent mentor. I wish I had time to do that, but I don't. That's a story for next time. So many years, so many mentors. I know there's going to be more coming. Namaste.
Thank you, Toastmaster Connie. Connection, admiration, and
knowledge.
And knowledge, yes. Thank you. I think those are something that we look for in anyone that we form relationships with, especially mentors. So thank you so much for sharing. Now we'd like to move on to our table topic section. I call on our table topics master. Oh, before we move on, I'd like to highlight that for our ballot, Toastmaster Woodland kicked off his journey with Toastmasters with his icebreaker. So we'll be voting on Toastmasters Connie and Toastmasters Micheline. Just checking with the timer. Were they within time?
Toastmaster Connie was in time with 6 minutes, 19 seconds. Toastmaster Micheline only spoke for 2 minutes and 19 seconds, so she didn't qualify. She needed 5 minutes to qualify.
Okay.
My speech was 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was
But that's
3 to
fine.
4 minutes.
Oh, it was a we didn't say the time, so it was only supposed to be a 3-minute talk?
Yes,
And then what's the minimum? Because we were 2 minutes, 19 seconds.
that's fine.
That works?
Yep.
Okay, my mistake, thank you.
Okay. Toastmaster Ray. Oh, are the polls ready?
The polls are ready, launching now. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending the poll.
Thank you. Now calling again on Toastmaster Ray as our table topics master for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. Our topics today will be repeated 2 times. It's time to get now super present and focused, and I'll be calling you after I state the topic. Before I continue, our timer will demonstrate the timing signals. Jack, can you please provide the timing signals for table topics?
Yes, we will have a green circle for 1 minute. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, it will turn to a yellow circle. Well, it's not showing it, but it will be. At 2 minutes, you'll have red. And at 2 minutes, 30 seconds, you will be clapped off.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack. So again, today our theme for our theme is for table topic is trust the timing of your life. Please be sure to use also the word of the week, which is panacea.
Panacea.
Panacea. There you go. Thank you. And before I continue, any of the guests here today, are all guests willing to participate?
Yes.
Here are a few yeses. If not, just let me know.
It's noisy where I'm at, so I won't participate. Oops.
What was that?
It's noisy where I'm at, so I can't participate, but thank you
Okay.
for the invitation. Maybe next time.
Not a problem. All right, let's proceed with our table topics. Tell us a story of a lesson you've learned in your lifetime that you would share with your younger generation. Tell us a story of a lesson you have learned over your lifetime that you would share with a younger generation. Toastmaster Mark Kessler.
Oh boy. What I could share with my younger generation. Interesting topic. I can only relate back to my own childhood and what someone would have shared with me. That would look like it's a crazy world that you're growing up into. Also, from my mother, I heard, why would you have children? It's such a crazy world. It's interesting to know that it's been a crazy world ever since we've been young, but I wouldn't trade this crazy world for any other way of growing up, I probably would introduce to a younger generation the fact that there's always hope and to never give up. And although that there might be craziness all around us, don't take that personally, and that you get to create your own world and not take it where everything that's going on around you should affect you unless you allow it to. So it's important to know that as you are proceeding in your life, you get to create your own story, whatever it looks like. It's really important to enjoy your life and not to let the world around you affect the way that you grow up. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark. Awesome answers here. Our next question, or our next table topic. We're reaching, as I said earlier, the end of 2020. 2021 will be better than the year 2020. Tell us if you agree or disagree and why. 2021 will be a better year than 2020. Tell us if you agree or disagree. Toastmaster Justin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. 2020 obviously has been a difficult year for many individuals. And certainly, you know, your heart goes out to those who have struggled and those who may have lost their jobs. And certainly for many people, 2021 is something to look for. This year, nothing else. New Year's Day that comes along, I think many people will be looking forward to. Some people are like, oh, it's just another year, just another New Year's. But I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to 2021. 2020, a pretty good year for myself, actually. I've been in a new role and a new position and a new job. And the pandemic has allowed me to become closer with my family, spend more time here at home. And I think that those are some positive things that you can look into at 2020. For 2021, I've always been a very optimistic individual, always thinking of things on the positive side. I already know 2021 is going to bring about some significant changes for my current role that I'm in right now, and I'm very excited about these new changes that are happening. And so I feel like 2021 will continue to catapult me forward for certainly in my career. And I also hope that I continue to be in my family and really just continue moving forward in my life and my goals that I've set out for myself. So I think 2021, there's a lot for me to look forward to, and recent news came about that makes me look very, very fondly upon 2021. I wish I could share now, but I cannot. But I'm very excited about 2021 and very much look forward to the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Justin. I think we're all excited to go into this new year, 2021. So, next table topic. And Connie, this has nothing to do with your speech by coincidence. It's related though. Describe your mentor, formal or informal, or someone who has influenced you in your life. Describe your mentor, formal or informal, or someone who has influenced you in your life. Toastmaster Gary Newper.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I think, as Connie mentioned, throughout your life, you're going to have various different mentors at different stages of your life for different reasons. So I'll focus on my most recent mentor, that I've been working with over the last 2 years. This was a completely random meeting at a social event related to horses. It just so happened that while all the ladies are talking about their horses, that the gentleman got into a discussion and figured out that, well, obviously if the women are riding horses and they're pretty much retired, that they must have been somewhat successful in the business world. And that enabled me to start conversing with some of them and figure out which of them would be able to help me and guide me in my career so that one day I could attain the same level of success that they've attained. I became a mentee of someone who I was very surprised was willing to be my mentor, just based on how busy and how successful he was. But it's been a real blessing working with him. He's seasonal, so he's in Wellington for the riding in the winter. So then we get to connect face to face most of the time. Well, COVID's changed that a little bit. But then during the summer times, they go up to their house in the north. And it's been great to be able to continue the relationship just via the phone with him. And he's really been a tremendous guide for me throughout the last 2 years of my career, as well as through the home buying process that we've just gone through. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gary. Our next one. Describe what you would do if you cannot fail. If there is no limitation on time, money, resources, or network. Describe what you would do if you cannot fail. Assuming there is no limitation of time, money, resource, and network. Diana, are you okay participating?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So what would I do if I cannot fail? So I think I found myself in a situation where failing was not a possibility, not necessarily because it was said, but something I imposed on myself. And that was when I went to FSU. I changed majors so many times, going from graduating high school, doing 7 different classes, science classes, and going in and saying, I never want to do science or math ever again. Tried doing criminology, decided this is not for me. Went into civil engineering, did a couple semesters in that, decided, you know what? I don't want to be responsible if a bridge falls on somebody. That's too much pressure. So I switched to computer engineering. Now we're talking about circuits and boards and all this stuff. And by this time, I've wasted so much time here. I should be graduating, and I haven't. I'm, still going, and decided I'm not willing to do something that's hardware related. So I switched to computer science. Ultimately, the jobs that are in the States are programming, a lot of them. And that's what I did. And, it wasn't a matter of somebody telling me I couldn't fail. It was a matter of me telling myself I couldn't fail. I had to find what I wanted to do, even if it took me 10 years. So ultimately, it took me 6 years. I came back. I was, really upset by that time because I had people telling me, you have all this money gone into this. You've got, certain grades that might not let you graduate because of engineering. It kind of fluctuates into that. But ultimately, I just could not fail. And I ended up in a career in computer science. And I'm very lucky to be there. And I love it. So it's like somebody said, once you love what you do, it's never a dull day and it's not work. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I'm in the computer field myself, so someday have a talk. Do we have time for one more? Don't think so.
No, we don't.
No.
Okay. Well, that concludes our table topics for today.
Thank you, Table Topics Master Ray. The third section of our meeting is evaluations, the gift of instant feedback, which is a key part of success at Toastmasters. Please welcome Toastmaster Stacy Kessler as our general evaluator for this evening.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, our dignitary Keon Green, and our guest this evening. Welcome to the final section of the meeting, which is our evaluations. May I please have the timer's report on the table topics to begin this portion? Timer? Jack Miller, are you the timer?
All of our speakers, or I'm sorry, the speakers for the evaluation will be 2 minutes for the green, 2 minutes, 30 seconds for yellow, 3 minutes, and 3:30, we will clap you off.
Perfect, thank you. And may I please have the timer's report on the table topics?
Table topics, everybody was within time.
Perfect. Our first speech evaluator for the evening. One moment. This is the wonderful part of having many screens up. Hold on, I just had it. Anybody could give a little support here to our first evaluator. Please announce yourself if you are the first evaluator.
Shastri Stewart.
Perfect. Our first evaluator this evening will be Toastmaster Shastri Stewart, evaluating our first speaker, Toastmaster Woodland.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. All right, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests and dignitaries. Today, I'll be evaluating Woodland, my mentee. Woodland, you gave an introduction to the Toastmaster, which provided some insight on what you would talk about. I thought that was very well done. You also told us about yourself. You told us that you're a realtor and that you wanted to become a better communicator. You also told us a story about your brother and how, because you were so shy when you were young, he spoke to you. Now, since I'm your mentor, I want to give you some feedback that will help you to give better speeches in the future. Now, that depends on how you take that feedback. And because I love you, I'm going to be a little critical, if I may. Now, this was your first speech. It was your icebreaker. We're supposed to get to know you. But I didn't feel the energy. I think that you should have had a little bit more energy, especially you speaking for the first time. When you add energy, it gets the audience more involved. A lot of times people think, well, that person is a good speaker because of the content. That's not true. People like speakers who take them on an emotional roller coaster. It's all about emotion. And how do you capture that emotion? By telling stories. And you had a perfect opportunity to do that when you said your brother used to talk to you. You could have given us a longer story. Delve in a little bit more. Also, your speech seemed a little impromptu. If you speak it for the first time, you want to make sure that you have an organized, structured speech. Why? Why that's important is because it will give you more confidence for your second speech. It will give you confidence because you already know what you need to talk about. You rehearse it. You'll feel more confident when you deliver that speech. And lastly, I'd like to highlight why you inspire me. I never bet against someone who has their mom as their why. Every day, every Monday, you appear at Toastmasters. That's inspiring. Every Monday, you speak impromptu, even though you're scared. That's inspiring. Joining Toastmaster is inspiring. And you're on your way to being an excellent, eloquent speaker. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shastri Stewart. Excellent job at your evaluation. We like to use in evaluations the Oreo cookie method. The Oreo cookie method is where we bring up the parts of the speech that worked. Also, the parts of the speech where there was different types of voices that are used as far as how you project your voice, as far as how you use hand gestures and tell your story. That is the good and juicy part of the beginning of the Oreo cookie. The middle of the Oreo cookie, which is the cream in the middle, is where there were possible gaps. And in those gaps, we just want to merely suggest what people could do to possibly improve as opposed to giving advice. And the other side of the Oreo cookie is to bring it in, as Shastri did an inspiring job on how Woodland brought through his mom, how he shows up each week. And although it is scary for Woodland to speak, how he was able to show up every week and on his way to being a great speaker. Great job, Toastmaster Shastri and Toastmaster Woodland, for your first speech. Our second evaluator of the evening is going to be Toastmaster Keon Green, our Toastmaster dignitary, which means that not only does Keon serve as a member of the Wellington Toastmasters, Keon Green as a dignitary also runs and supports many clubs in the area and supports them through their journey in raising their standards to their optimal selves as a Toastmaster club. Toastmaster Keon Green will be evaluating our second speaker of the evening, Toastmaster Micheline Nimburg.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, and of course, Micheline. Micheline, you got me right away with the title of your speech. When I heard or read Toast to the Rock, I thought Micheline was going to talk about diamonds are girl's best friend. Really, when I thought rock, I thought diamond. But you really got me with a title right away. I am going to share with you what Micheline excelled in her toast and where she can improve. Micheline excelled in showing off her genuine love and admiration for her mother and for her two friends. And in giving a toast to somebody one loves or admires, genuine love for that individual is the most important element in a toast. For that matter, I didn't even pay too much attention. Also, although I didn't pay too much attention on the mechanics of her delivery, because those mechanics, the techniques, pale compared to the love and admiration she wanted to honor her subject. The speech was definitely to the point, and she really did a wonderful job in honoring her mother and her two sisters. meaning sister friends. There is it's just one area that I wanted to suggest that she incorporates in her toast next time. Please share a short story. Why do you think, why are you honoring your two best friends? What happened? Put us and bring us into the world of your friendship. One day, my friends and I were driving down I-95. The tire blew out. The three of us decked out in evening dress. We went out. That solidified our friendship. Something to that nature. I am sure you have a ton of stories to share with us. If you can share just one of those, you would have really brought us into the world of friend, the special friendship that you have with your girlfriends. Here I am standing just to see how I look on the screen when I stand. Why? Because Micheline, when you are giving a toast next time, I have a pretty good feeling that you will be standing in person. So maybe you want to practice standing when you're giving a toast next time. You said the gesture, but some gestures tend to be out of the frame, like you can see. Some gestures need to be within the frame. But I am nitpicking, of course, Micheline. Your story, your toast for your mother and your girlfriends really touched my heart. Well done. Look forward to more. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Keon Green. Always a pleasure to hear the way that Keon delivers her evaluations in a efficient way, giving the compliments at the beginning, taking all of the viewpoints that she has and bringing them forth in such an eloquent way for the speaker to optimize themselves for the next time, and then wrapping it up always with the good stuff again. Our final evaluator of the evening is going to be Toastmaster
Sonia Harate.
Yep, Sonia Garate. Sonia will be evaluating our Toastmaster Connie Andrews this evening.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Toastmaster Connie, so many years, so many mentors. What a wonderful speech to give for the last meeting of the year. And I'd like to say, what a great opening you had, Connie. You captured us by giving the definition of the word protege. So you played on some words instead of reusing the word mentor throughout your speech, so we wouldn't get bored with the same word. I like how you use them back and forth, protege and mentor. And also, I enjoyed your storytelling. The purpose of your speech was to be well organized, and you definitely gave us that. You listed the 3 mentors that you wanted to describe, and you gave a bit about each. You talked about the first with your Tupperware experience, your real estate, and then your yoga. I love the short phrase you shared from the real estate where you said you work like jelly and peanut butter. So those phrases really captured my attention, and it stuck in my mind as you shared that. And one suggestion that I would give to you is, while you were speaking, I observed that you, I suppose, are close to the computer. So we see a lot of your face, which is beautiful, and we can see your facial expressions. But then I lose your hand gestures. And I think you were doing hand gestures as you were speaking. And I know in real life you do speak with your hands a lot, and you give lots of physical movement and gives lots of vitality to your speech. So we couldn't see that. So possibly if we stood back a bit, we could get a bit more of that from you and get more of the gist of Connie. I also liked how you shared that having one mentor is not a panacea to all your growth challenges in your life. So you moved through it sequentially and kept it very organized. And the best part of your speech, Connie, was the cliffhanger. What a way to end a speech, with a tease, like a movie trailer. You have a 4th mentor, the secret Santa in the room, the white elephant, who we don't know about, who I'm just wondering about now, and I cannot wait to hear more about that. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Great job, Toastmaster Sonia Garate, in your evaluation this evening. It's always an honor and a privilege to hear Toastmaster Sonia speak. Doesn't everyone love that accent? How she accentuates every syllable and every word? Great. Thank you for your organized way of delivering that evaluation. I'm sure that supported Connie in many different ways. And our timers report we will need right now for our evaluators, please. Jack Miller.
All of our evaluators were within time and exceptional.
Perfect. And to Ray Melendez, Toastmaster Ray Melendez, are we ready to put up the voting poll to vote for our 3 evaluators?
We are ready. Toastmaster Stacy, 1 second here.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. And our table topics will be voting.
Five seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ending the polls.
Great, to be continued. We will be announcing the winners at the end of the meeting. At this time, our grammarian this evening, is Toastmaster Michelle. Can you tell us and give us our report, Michelle?
General Evaluator, it's my pleasure. The word panacea was probably used twice during the meeting, 2 times. Just on a note, on my script, it says word of the week. So if I'm afforded this privilege to do grammarian, I will post the word for the week so that you can get more, able to practice and stuff like that before the word comes up on the day of the meeting. I found and I heard wonderful things, and I would like to share with you in the few minutes that I have, or the few seconds. I heard the following notable words and phrases from our first speaker: painfully shy introvert. This was nicely done. I also heard, I am the jelly and he's the peanut butter. She loves me at my best and encourages me at my worst. Retire her. He wanted to retire his mother. I don't think that was quite a good phrase put together, but we understood what he meant, meaning that he would give her a retire. I've heard it used before, but I'm still going to explore that a bit. I did notice that there were 1 or 2 grammatical errors that I picked up, and grammarian does help you listen much, much more than I thought. It does make you pay attention. Woman that rocks. More than maybe 95% of us cannot agree on verb and verb subject matter. So we want to say women that rock, they rock, because the word was used again, they rock. So I noticed that. I also noticed the word protege, which was a good word. 3 things that stayed on my mind. I think a better use of a word to encapsulate stayed on my mind would have been better, remarkable. I noticed one other thing. Someone said pale and compare, but my thought pattern would be pale in comparison. Other than that, everything was well done, well said, and that concludes my grammarian report, General Evaluator.
Thank you, grammarian Toastmaster Michelle Gonzalez. To our Toastmaster of the evening, our counter, Toastmaster Mark.
Thank you, General Evaluator. The total number of fillers were 87. The most used by one member was 18. The one member who did not use any fillers was a Micheline. Congratulations. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mark Kessler. I'm going to wrap this up as we are at 8:01. Our meeting, I believe, ends promptly at 8:05. Does everybody align with maybe going over 5 minutes within this meeting? It looks like it may go over 5 minutes. Is everyone okay with that? Thumbs up if you are. Okay, we have some thumbs up. And Jack Miller, are you going to be okay with, oh, that's not even Jack Miller. That's a picture of Jack Miller. I was like, boy, he is really stern tonight. He's just sitting up nice and tall this evening. It's a photo of him. The speech introductions this evening, great job to all of the speakers. It is typically the job of the speaker to provide the Toastmaster of the day with an introduction for themselves. If you've noticed, each speaker was introduced and a message was brought through. Great job on that. I would have liked to have heard the name of the project through it being Pathways, and maybe Pathways being brought through by the evaluators somewhere and letting us know what project it is with the objectives of what it is and the timing criteria as well. The meeting did start on time this evening. Guests, did you feel welcomed this evening? If you did, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Yes, the answer is they felt welcomed. Great. We are honored that you are here. Our dignitary, Toastmaster Keon Green, she was acknowledged, and I believe her role was explained as to what her dignitary role was. If we could just put our hands together simply for our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shay Graves. The reason why we want to give a round of applause to our Toastmaster of the day, because, thank you, Justin, I liked your round of applause. The reason why we would want to accentuate this role is because it doesn't only show up here at the meeting. A lot of what happens is behind the scenes, getting everyone signed up, the functionaries signed up for their roles, checking in with the speakers, getting all of the information from the speakers, making sure that all of the functionary roles are filled, and getting support wherever is needed. There is much work to do behind the scenes for the Toastmaster of the day. Shay's energy and her eloquence in how she brings forth the energy of emotions is always appreciated. Great job, Shay. The theme of the meeting was stated, and the topics, our table topics master, Toastmaster Ray Melendez. It's been a pleasure and an honor to witness your growth as a Wellington Toastmaster. I felt like you gave a great subject matter this evening, kept each topic super simple, allowing everyone to have great answers. And I felt like every table topic that everyone spoke into was in excellence. We didn't have any special techniques or props or visual aids. I believe that bringing that back into our speeches and sharing screens with maybe some PowerPoints or some visual aids or some props, something like that. Let's be mindful of that with the speeches and see what we could do about that. Also, knowing that you all are Wellington Toastmasters, getting yourself a green screen, ordering that on Amazon and popping it up behind you so that when you do stand up and speak, that it doesn't look weird that you're moving along in the background with the background. It's able to focus. Keon, you may want to consider that. Shastri, you may want to consider that. Making sure our lighting is appropriate as well will be supportive. Toastmaster Ray, since you are using the flag each week, right now you're enmeshed in with the flag. I think that would be a great way of bringing our Toastmasters to excellence for everyone. Our speech evaluators, I gave you your feedback. Great job this evening on the Oreo cookie method. Our timer, great job tonight. I'll counter grammarian. And this concludes the evaluation section of the meeting with the general evaluator. Please let's welcome back our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Micheline not Toastmaster Micheline Nimburg. I love Micheline Nimburg when she's the Toastmaster. Toastmaster Shay Graves.
Thank you, Toastmaster Stacy Kessler, for such a thorough evaluation, highlighting every angle and every person, every guest. We appreciate you and we appreciate your attention to detail. Now, without further ado, we've already voted for tonight, so I am going to welcome back our club president, Shastri Stewart.
Thank you. We should be doing the prizes. So Ray, you ready?
I am ready here.
All right. Go ahead.
Let's get started with our prize for our icebreaker today. Mr. Toastmaster Woodland and forgot your last name, Woodland, but a round of applause for Woodland, everybody. All right, in first place for our formal speaker, let's give a round of applause for Connie Andrews, Toastmaster Connie Andrews. Go back to our best evaluator. For best evaluator, let's give a round of applause for Sonia Garate. And last is for our table topic. Let's give a round of applause for Diana Salazar. I think that she also won our last meeting as well.
Yes, her second time.
There you go. I pass this back to Mr. Shastri Stewart.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Thank you so much for that. Awesome. Please put your hands together for our table topics of the day. Shay Greaves did a wonderful job leading our meeting. Thank you, Shay.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
You did an awesome job.
Thanks.
All right. I know that we're running a little behind, so I'll just have a few things. Before I do so, I'd like to get back to our guests. Steve. Sir, if you could tell us what you thought of our meeting tonight.
Well, it was very eloquent. A lot of people spoke very well. Impressive. I think I learned a lot. I appreciate that. I learned some interesting things about Tupperware, which I don't know much about usually, but it's always good to learn new things. And mentors, that was really nice to hear about those things, inspiring. But overall, it was, we fit well together, very organized, and I think I got, nice, some good skills I think I can hopefully look up to and use on my own. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and we loved having you, and please feel free to come back. We do not have a meeting next week, but we do have one on the 4th. And feel free to bring a guest if you'd like. Also, our VP of membership will be staying behind for additional 5 minutes if you have any questions for her. All right, Connie, can you give us some feedback about our meeting tonight? Connie, our guest.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, hi, yes. Always in the background, so I wasn't speaking. I liked it. I think I liked the topics. It was very motivating. It made me think about my own questioning of made me question. I had questions for my own self rather, and I would like to come back again if you guys are happy. That'd be nice.
Absolutely, we'll always love to have you. Please join us again, and feel free to bring a guest. if you'd like to speak to your guest, if you feel like you want to speak to Micheline for the next 5 minutes after the meeting, feel free. All right, and the last guest, well, not last guest, Danny is here as well. Diana, could you give us some feedback about our meeting tonight?
Yes, very excited to come back. Again, very welcoming. I like the bigger group, being able to see the structure of how it flows compared to last week. Really excited to come back in January.
Awesome. And our next meeting is going to be on the 4th. And you did a wonderful job today. I felt like you were giving like an icebreaker speech or something. It was wonderful. You did a great job. So would love to have you again, and feel free to join. Ask someone to join or bring a guest on the 4th. If you feel like you want to stay behind for 5 minutes, Shay, our Toastmaster of the day, will have breakout rooms for you all to speak with Micheline. All right, on to Denny. Denny, are you a member yet or still a guest?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on really. I'm waiting on some information to be forwarded to me and things like that. I'm in contact with Mike. I think we'll have that settled away by next week for next week's meeting for sure.
Okay. Do you need someone to reach out to you tonight?
I'm gonna reach out to Mike. That's what it has to be, because it's just something that I discussed with Mike. It was an agreement that we had, so we're gonna work that out. It's gonna be on the way.
Okay.
If Mike is forwarding me the information, that's what it is. As he said.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, we're looking forward to you joining the team. All right, on to a few announcements. We do have our area contest, which is due by the 31st of January, so we have to do it by the 31st. We have 2 dates that we have in mind that we will be voting on after in our executive meeting. I believe it was the 18th, and there was a different date, the 10th maybe. Not
The
sure.
11th and the 18th.
The 11th and the 18th. Yeah, so we'll have those dates. Most likely we'll select those dates. So we'll need speakers for the international contest, and we'll need speakers for table topics. All right.
Hearing from
That
me.
is it.
You'll definitely be hearing from me. So get ready. It's exciting. So don't be afraid. It's fun. It's fun. It's us. And we're here to support you and cheer you on.
Absolutely. And everyone have a blessed Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Au revoir.
Thank you.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Guests, remember, if you do want to stay behind, Shay has a separate breakout room for you guests.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
Merry
Take care,
Christmas,
stay
Connie.
healthy, safe.
Take care.
Wear your mask.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Michelle, you could stay behind if you'd like as well.